Hey everyone, good morning. Well, the SEC has finally done it, and I'm not surprised. So this just came across my desk from Coindesk this morning that the SEC is now officially coming after Coinbase. So the SEC warns Coinbase it's pursuing enforcement action over securities violations. Well, we knew this was coming at some point. They're coming after everyone else, so Coinbase is like one of the biggest kids on the block. Coinbase says the SEC informed the company of plans to pursue an enforcement action against the exchange and its staking service. A few details were offered, of course. Now, basically what a Wells notice, which is what they received. So a Wells notice is basically just a legal document saying we're coming after you. All right. So it gives them a little bit of time to respond, but it really doesn't make much. The SEC really honestly doesn't really care about that. This is just notifying the Coinbase that they're coming for them. Crypto exchange Coinbase may soon face enforcement action tied to its listing of potential unregistered securities, which we don't even have a framework yet. Anyway, there hasn't been no legal documentation stating what crypto securities looks like. This is basically, to me, just a witch hunt. It's like the Salem witch trials. If you remember your history, if you so they tie a chain around you, drop you to the bottom of a river, and if you didn't float, that means you weren't a witch. Coinbase disclosed the SEC alleges the US-based company may be operating in violation of securities laws in the running of its exchange and staking services. The regulator targeted Coinbase with a so-called Wells notice that informs the business that the agency is planning on future action that could include an injunction or cease and desist without specifying exactly what actively is found in violation. This is my biggest problem, okay? When you have the SEC or any organization coming out and saying, okay, well, this is the problem, we're coming at you for this, but they're not going to tell you any, there's no transparency, it's just whatever they feel like doing at the time. So if needed, we welcome a legal process to provide clarity we have been advocating for and to demonstrate that the SEC simply has not been fair or reasonable when it comes to its engagement on digital assets. All right, so what's also happening here is because Coinbase, or even the whole crypto space, the exchanges, there's no clarity, there's no framework, there's no rules. When you play a game, you normally have the rules of the game, right? This is what you can do, this is what you can't do, this is how you score a goal, this is how you can't. We don't have that. There is no clarity. The SEC is not giving us anything, giving the crypto world anything that we can do to play within the boundaries. They're just coming out and arbitrarily deciding, well, okay, we have a problem with your staking, we have a problem with what assets you're listing, without giving any framework or any legal boundaries to stay within. The notice is preliminary, and such warnings don't always lead to enforcement actions. This is going to lead to an enforcement action, all right? If they're putting it out there, they're coming for crypto full vengeance, guns blazing, right? They're coming, so don't think they're not. So the company has until March 29th to let the agency know rather it intends to rebut that securities laws have likely been violated. But there's one section that I want to highlight here for you guys. And this is, actually there's a couple sections here, but this first one, basically, Coinbase has publicly criticized the SEC for what it describes as a vague regulatory structure, petitioning the regulator in July to explain how digital assets could fit within securities laws. So, an individual familiar with the situation told Coindesk that the exchange had engaged in over 60 different discussions with the federal regulator over questions about registering and listing digital assets, and the agency had declined to offer any advice or answers to questions. The issues discussed include defining the right market structure and determining which assets could be listed. And of course they're not going to answer. They don't want understand this, guys. We are in a process where the federal government, SEC, Federal Reserve, looks at cryptocurrency and blockchain technology as a significant threat, okay? A significant threat to their power structure. And with that in mind, they are not going to do anything. They're not going to volunteer anything that could help exchanges to make it easier on them to follow within the guidelines. I'm totally not surprised that the SEC is declining to give any kind of feedback or any advice to Coinbase. I knew this was coming. I think we all probably did. It was just a matter of time. Now, what I'm hoping for and what I'm seeing today is that a lot of in the crypto community is coming out in support of Coinbase. So here's what I think needs to happen. I look at the SEC as the bully on the block. Okay, they're going to go in there and they're going to pummel the ones that are smaller. They're going to pummel the ones that they're going to really come at the ones that can't fight back. Coinbase, now by the way, Coinbase's stock prices are dropping due to this Wells notice, which is another benefit for the SEC. If we as a crypto community, and I'm talking about leadership in exchanges, I'm talking about whales, we need to fight back. We need the SEC to define, with our help, a regulatory structure, a reasonable and fair regulatory structure that we can all fall in line with, that we can play within the lines, that we know the rules. This is what I'm hoping. I'm glad to see that finally the crypto community is starting to support one another, because we can't just be an island unto ourselves, because divide and conquer, right? Isn't that one of Hannibal's strategies? Divide and conquer. I'm going to divide you guys, and then I'm going to take you off one at a time. If we all come together, if all the leaders and all the CEOs of the exchanges, and I'm talking globally, I'm talking solidarity, I think that's the only way we're going to get anything done. Because if we're just allowing the SEC to come in and arbitrarily, just when it feels like, oh, okay, well, Coinbase is getting too big, we have a problem with their staking, because, God forbid, we're getting a piece of the pie and they're not, that's a problem for them. So, and it's becoming a big issue for us, because if you have an account on Coinbase, that could affect, if you have any kind of staking, hopefully you have most of your cryptos on a cold wallet. But regardless, if you are trading, if you have assets on an exchange, then that could be an issue if you're staking. So we need to come together. We need to show support regardless, and even if you don't necessarily are a big fan of Coinbase, I'm more of a fan of Coinbase than I am of the SEC. They don't allow us the opportunity. There's not a fair playing field. All we want is a fair playing field. And that's what Coinbase is saying. Look, we've come to you where we give us some help. How can we stay within the lines? That's not happening. I hope it does. Do we need some regulation and some kind of a guidance structure in crypto? Yes, we do. I'm not saying we don't, but make it fair, make it reasonable, make it just, and make it so where retail investors such as us, if you are watching this, then you are a retail investor. We're not an institutional investor. Have the opportunity to make just as much money as the whales, as these institutions, right? Give us something that we can reasonably align ourselves with and be okay with, and stop attacking. Stop with the choke point 2.0. Let us have the opportunity to be wealthy, to be successful. That's what America is, right? Okay, we should all have that opportunity. So stop doing the witch hunt. Give us a structure. Include crypto exchanges in those policy decisions, and let's move on. So hey everyone, I hope you're having a great morning. I'm here having some coffee in sort of my new pseudo office. Again, any advice I give is not financial advice, of course, and you all know that. I'm not a financial advisor. However, I do appreciate you all, and if you like the content of my channel, please hit the like button, hit subscribe. It helps us to be seen, And I appreciate your support because we're a community where let's all stick together and have a great day. And remember, here at the Crypto Dojo, crypto never sleeps.